Welcome back to The Fruits, everyone. I'm your host, Stacie Haynes, and today I'm joined by third step ritual master and spiritual guide within the Modern Mystery School, Ruthie Odom. So The Fruits is a place where initiates of the Modern Mystery School can come and share their experience, how utilizing the different tools, teachings, and classes of the lineage of King Solomon within the Modern Mystery School has helped them to create a tangible fruit in their life. So Ruthie, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Grateful to have you. So let's just jump right in. I'd really love to hear your story boiled down. I know you've been with the school for the mystery, or been with the mystery school for about 8 years now. Is that right?
Yeah.
So what brought you to the mystery school initially?
What brought me to the mystery school? Okay, I mean, I was spiritually seeking from a really young age. I mean, I don't know what brought me to the mystery school because technically I found it at a street fair.
Okay.
You know, at the time I felt really lost. I think that's a common story, people feeling like lost, trying to figure out like that next step in their life, and that, you know, that was also my story. I was honestly doing a lot of drugs at the time. I was taking a lot of psychedelics. I was doing a lot of drinking a lot, smoking a lot, you know, whatever I can get my hands on. And I was like using that as a way to sort of tap into other spiritual worlds. And I was really struggling because it was starting to become a problem. And I think my friends started realizing that I was getting way more ungrounded, and I just wasn't myself anymore. And that was coming from like this deep emptiness I think I felt. I was really empty. I was spiritually seeking. I was studying at all kinds of different places. I was at a Buddhist monastery. I was studying with the church. I was like in a lot of new age groups. I was studying yoga. I was studying like, you know, primal practice movement stuff. I was like doing whatever I could to figure out this God thing, you know, and I just was failing on all counts. So I was actually really lost. And I ended up at this street fair like by happenstance. And I saw a booth for the Modern Mystery School, and my life activation practitioner, Casey O'Connell, she was like, "Do you want this thing?" And I said yes. And now here I am, 8 years later, offering life activations and doing this work.
Yeah. What was it about the life activation or the path that like has kept you going for so long?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. The path is so awesome. I feel like I'm constantly on an epic quest, like because it's a path. You know, it's not like this like quick fix that everything was sort of marketed to me as before I found mystery school. Like, oh, take this and you're going to manifest all this stuff, or take this and your life's going to, you know, be better. It was like, here's some tools, and if you use it and apply it according to your own will, you can create miracles and you can create limitless possibilities in your life. And I was like, that's cool. Like, I want to see what this is about. And there was a lot of play. There's always been a lot of play in the path, in a sense of like, I would get new tools and like new ideas, new teachings, and then I'd get to play with it in my life. You know, like I'd study with the Modern Mystery School, and then I'd go home, and then I'd work it in my life, and I was finding just really amazing fruits.
So what would be one of your biggest fruits then that you gained from the path?
I mean, I got lots of stuff physically, like especially when I first started, like, you know, I like didn't have anxiety and depression anymore. I started manifesting things like cars and getting into schools that I wanted, and starting, you know, communities and moving, and lots of really cool life stuff happened. But I think the number one fruit that I got was joy. Like, I feel so much more joy now than I ever thought was possible. And I think that's like the biggest success I have, is I feel so joyful. And as a guide, you know, I have a lot of people come to me because they're trying to figure out this joy thing, trying to figure out this happiness thing, trying to figure out what they want. And I do feel like I have a firm grasp on what that is. So I tend to help a lot of people from my fruit of joy, help a lot of people find their joy.
So how did you grow this fruit of joy? What is it about the school and the lineage that has helped you to obtain this fruit of joy?
It just helps you like have a lot of confidence in yourself. Like, you know, the first teaching you get in the Modern Mystery School is that you create your reality. You create your life. You are the God of your own life. And that was such a relief for me. And then, but it's just a seed, you know, like it's just a bit of knowledge. Like, could this be true? And so like a scientist, you go out and you practice those tools, those teachings that you get, because there's lots of different methods of wielding energy that you get in the school, all to come back to this aspect, to this teaching of like, you are God. And so I think like what happened was I would use these tools, they would work, and then I would gain more confidence. So it wasn't like, oh, it's just this teaching, I am God. It was just like, oh, actually, maybe this is true. I'm starting to know God in a different way. I'm starting to know this different realm, this quantum realm, this spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it, intimately through self-knowledge. And that was helping me develop a greater confidence in life, where it was like, okay, like, I'm not afraid of moving across the country because I have confidence in myself, because I'm understanding more and more my own divinity or my own ability to create things in my life. And because I had this confidence in who I was, I would experience more joy. Like, oh, like no matter what, I am going to have my back. Like, and I don't have to depend on others around me for this kind of validation of, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, it's almost like it helped me really figure out, you know, what do I want to do? And then when I started getting those things that I wanted more and more and more and applying my will towards it, I just gained this like super confidence in myself in a way that I had never had before.
Thank you. As a spiritual seeker, you mentioned that you had been doing a lot of psychedelics.
Yeah.
How is the mystery school different from, I don't know what kind of psychedelics you were doing, but like from a trip? Like what was it about the trip that you were looking for? And then how does that compare to what the mystery school has to offer?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I started using drugs when I was like 15, and not many people knew that because I was really good at like school and making everything look good while also having this big like kind of party life on the side.
Yeah.
So I became really good at managing both worlds and like only showing people what I wanted them to see rather than actually showing them the truth. And I think when I got to college, I started really diving into psychedelics like mushrooms and acid and, you know, again, like whatever I could get my hands on. Sometimes I didn't even know what I was putting in my body. And what I was finding was that like, I was sort of transcending my life, right? And there's a difference between transcending and ascending. So transcending felt like I was leaving my physical life in order to go somewhere else. And I was getting all these visions, these gateways, these things, you know, typical things that you would see on a psychedelic trip. I was getting information. I was learning a lot of stuff. But then once the trip was done, I'd like slam right back down into my body. I'd slam right back down into my life where all my problems still existed. And yeah, sure, maybe I would get some sort of information, or I'd maybe have an understanding that there was a different way of viewing things. But my life didn't change. My life didn't change. And I kept like taking these things that were outside of me, taking these drugs, and it wasn't working. And I was suffering, and I was just becoming like a lame person, really, because I was just like, I almost was like speaking as the drug. I was taking these drugs so much, especially mushrooms. That was like my big one. I was taking them so much that I felt like it wasn't even my voice anymore. I was just sort of speaking as this thing. And I just was losing myself. I was honestly, this mask that I had like kind of showed people, it was like, who was I?
Yeah.
I was losing myself. Like I almost couldn't find myself, and I went to a really dark place, you know, and I was suffering because I was like, holy crap, I'm trying to solve the problem this way. It's not. And more of who I really am is just falling into darkness. So when I got life activated, I felt like I came back. When I got life activated, I just like, you know, I remember that day so clearly. I was just vibrating with the energy. You know, I had resistance to it. I was a little nervous. I was like, what is this life activation thing? I don't know. Like,
it's kind of weird when it's your first time. You've never had this thing done to you before.
Exactly. So. Yeah. And I just was like, you know, screw it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens and see the fruits.
Yeah.
And I just remember just the vibration, the energy that sort of felt like it was awakening in my body. And that summer, I just grounded in a way that I had never had before. I was coming back. My friends were noticing. They're like, oh, you seem like yourself again. And life was just easier. And the night that I had my life activation is the night I decided to stop doing drugs and drinking.
Wow.
And I just realized right off the bat that was the thing that was perpetuating this cycle for me. And I've been sober since.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah. What are your thoughts on people that, so like microdosing, right, is like super big, right? And it's so hot right now.
Yeah.
And I have clients that are microdosing, and, you know, I personally believe that we don't really need anything outside of ourselves. And I've had some really insane advanced astral travel trips in the mystery school. And advanced astral travel is something that is a class that is taught in the mystery school. But, you know, my experience with drugs is more limited. I smoked a lot of weed. Like weed was my thing. But I never really had like that mushroom trip. Like I did mushrooms a couple of times. So my experience with that is limited, but I do have clients that are, you know, experimenting with microdosing and are like, well, but, you know, the pathways in the brain are similar to the way that the mushrooms grow in the ground or something that. And so like, isn't that a good thing? And I just personally, again, I don't find it to be that good.
Like, is it a positive fruit?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so there's so much you can say about this, so it's like, where to begin?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of science being developed. There's a lot of research that is being done around these things right now. There's also research being done that some of this stuff is negative, but that research isn't as popular or posted about on Instagram as much.
Of course, yeah.
Guys, I mean, like, when it comes to pot, it's just like, putting smoke in your lungs is never going to be good for you. Like, it's just like, that's.
And I hated doing like edibles and stuff like that, because I hated the way that it made my body feel.
Yeah.
So I was always going to smoke weed. Like that was the way that I was going to get high.
Yeah. I mean, I smoked weed like every day, like for a really long time. But it started making me paranoid.
Yeah.
It started making me paranoid. It wasn't fun anymore. And I just realized it was like, you know, myself telling me to stop. You know, I talked about this thing about transcending and ascending.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't like that it did feel like I was sacrificing a part of physical life in order to have this experience. You know, in the mystery school, we have what's called the Kabbalah Ascension program, where you ascend up the tree of life and you learn amazing things about yourself, and you have this super subconscious clean out, and you gain so many amazing, amazing, amazing gifts from that 10 to 12 month journey that, like, I've now done the Kabbalah program, like, you know, a good handful of times. And every time I've done it, I have gained something far greater than any drug ever gave me.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, it took me higher than the drug ever could. But different with transcending versus ascending. Ascending, you are heightening that vibration. You are exploring this different realms, dimensions, but in a grounded way, because you're taking your physical life with you. So yeah, you literally ascend through this experience, and you have this face-to-face experience of yourself as God at the end of that 10-month journey. And nobody can take that away from me, because I have done Kabbalah. I have done this mystery school path for a while, and I have had so many, like I said, those experience, that confidence of a seed of goodness, of a seed of light, of a seed of possibility that the drug never could ground in my life. Yeah. And I did microdose on mushrooms every day, and it got me nowhere. You know, what I've learned through studying Hermetics is, like, you can't change a problem from the same place it started. Yeah. You can't change a thought with a thought. You can't change a certain problem by trying to do the same problem. You don't heal hate with hate. Yeah. So if I was trying to heal problems that I was having in the physical, I felt like maybe I needed to go something beyond the terrestrial, which a plant is. And there is a cost when you're working with this psychedelic plant, because, like, what's actually happening to you when you take this thing? What are you giving back to this thing? Because there is an exchange. Yeah. So yeah, maybe there's pathways in the brains and stuff, but I worked with so many clients now that come to me because of the damage that happened with psychedelics. Right. And I was one of them. Like, I really actually crossed the line, and a part of, like, you know, that was really scary. Like, I've definitely had a bad trip. And I've definitely had my mind go to really, really scary places. And if there's folks out there that have experienced a bad trip and it kind of feels like not all of you came back, like, I was there. And I healed that through the work of the Modern Mystery School. Like, I remember, you know, I had one trip one time, and after that, like, I had panic attacks for years. Like, they would never go away. Wow. And I felt like I had a monster on my back for like, until I did a healing series called the Spiritual Drug Detox program that we have in the school. And then all of a sudden, like the panic attacks finally went away. I felt this freedom, this liberation from whatever I had done to my mind from that experience. And I was just healing in a way I never thought was possible. You know, I have story after story after story of the things I've healed that came specifically from drug damage. Because there is damage that can be done, especially when you cross that line. And I don't think humans were ever meant to take, you know, to smoke weed every single day. You know, they do come, these plants do come from cultures that use them in a sacred way, yes. But me, you know, from South Georgia in the 21st century, like I'm not stepping in to that lineage. I never will. Sure. It's not ever going to be the way it was thousands of years ago. And I don't think even if it was, taking ayahuasca, taking mushrooms, taking something 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 times was ever the point. I think the point in those cultures where you took it one time, you got your answers, and then you went on with your life. But now it's becoming another crutch, another thing people are depending on for their spiritual answers. And you got to depend on you. Not this drug, not even mystery school. Like every time I try to go and get answers from people in the mystery school, I always leave with more questions. And through my own life,
so annoying.
I get to answer them. I mean, kind of, you know, it would be easier if people just told us what to do. It'd be easier to take a drug and check out. But the cooler and harder thing to do is actually living in this world as a good person, actually making these changes based on godliness and trying to do something that's never been done before, which I think I see a lot of initiates doing. You know, and I'm just so tired of the status quo. I think that in terms of pot and drugs, what's going to happen? This is like, now it's on camera, so you can hear me saying it.
Here we go, everyone.
This is my theory is, okay, like my grandfather, he went to medical school in Greece, like in the 1940s.
That's cool.
And he had a textbook, right, that said how smoking cigarettes was really good for you because smoke a cigarette a day, it actually helps the nerves and the anxiety. And I just have this feeling that, you know, 150, maybe even 20, maybe 10, maybe 3 years from now, there's going to be more and more studies coming out about like marijuana use, other drug use. So it's like, oh crap, that thing that we thought maybe was healthy back then, maybe not so much.
Yeah.
Like there are those studies already out there. They're just less popular because it's just becoming such like, you know, especially the weed industry is becoming so popular in so many different ways, and making a lot of people money. But I don't think it's the solution. I don't think that weed is anybody's God. And I think that's what it's becoming. And I say that meaning like this thing has the power to give you something. I don't even say that about the mystery school. It's like I actually am my own God. And whatever people are communing with, it's just like at what cost? Because there is a higher, more grounded place you can go. And I say that from experience. And that's like a huge fruit of my life is healing my mind. Like my mind is so much quieter, so much safer than it ever was when I was on drugs, because I was always scared when I was taking them. Like, oh my God, am I going to lose my mind? And I almost did. And I've had friends that have just lost it. They went too far. And they're no longer the same person that I used to talk to. And that's not a positive fruit. And people say, oh, well, like anything in moderation. I was like, well, actually, I can do like all the tools that I get from mystery school, like 20, 100 times a day, and I'm never going to lose my mind from it. I'm never going to be harmed. I'm never going to have to go to the hospital. I'm never going to be diagnosed with psychosis. Like it's literally just pretty much meditating, it, you know, and using Hermetic wisdom that's been around for 8,000 years. That actually works because it's been around for so long. So I hope I don't, or maybe I don't care if I offend anybody.
There's plenty of people out there offending people.
Yeah, everybody wants to get mad about the drug thing, but you know what? Maybe there's some people that also feel like I feel is like I don't like drugs. I don't think drugs are going to solve the problem. If you like drugs, do whatever you want. I don't care.
Do whatever you want. And that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, you know, they're like, well, what do you think about this? And I tell them, well, this is how I feel about it. But honestly, you're not going to learn unless you go and do whatever you want to do. You have to gain the discernment on your own. And if you come back and it's not so great, I'm available to help you heal from that. Because ultimately, I would, yes, there are definitely people that, you know, do certain drugs and maybe do it at a smaller amount in moderation. not for that long period of time, and they're okay, right?
Yeah.
But like every single person on the planet needs healing. All of us need healing, whether it be from drugs, alcohol, sugar, freaking our parents. Like mostly all of us are our parents. There's some sort of thing that happened in our childhood. So every single person needs healing. So it's like, you know, whatever it is that you need healing from, I'm here to help you through that. Because the thing is like this lineage is so old and we have tools for everything and they work.
And I would say like healing, what I've always loved about the mystery school definition of a healer is someone that offers a choice.
Yeah.
You know, like you are the only person that can heal yourself.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a practitioner, it's just my job to offer different choices and have zero attachment to what you choose to do.
Yeah.
Even the, you know, healing sessions that we facilitate, you know, they make that choice to come, to attend, to, you know, pay money, to be there, and then receive whatever that healing's going to offer, and then choose whether or not they're going to take that new light into their life and make a difference. You know, healing is interesting because I think healing is not really a process of becoming. Like, what if you already are God? Like, what if you already are like this divine, amazing being? And healing is actually just removing all of those masks that's preventing you from seeing that. So you're not becoming something better. You are this great thing.
Yeah.
But the process of perfection is you removing all that programming that you receive from life, telling that you're not. And what I learned with drugs is like I would get like a window. I'd get a rocket ship out of that box I was in into this other reality to see that possibility, to see other possibilities. But I'd collapse right back into my box. And I didn't know how to build any other structures in my mind to actually climb out of that box for good. So I just kept rebuilding the same box until you have a safe and time-tested, true way to start dismantling the programming of your mind, to start expanding your reality, start expanding your box until maybe one day you don't actually need the box.
You don't need a box.
You know,
you don't need it.
We're just going to be stuck in the same cycles. And that's why I love the mystery school. That's why I love the Universal Kabbalah program. I've worked really closely with Dr. Teresa Bullard. She has a series on Gaia TV.
Check it out. It's super dope.
It's amazing. You know, and working with her and just seeing like how she has always helped me to kind of think like, oh, there's no way I could possibly do this. And then through the tools, through Kabbalah, through literally building new ways of seeing in my mind, I've been able to create realities I never thought was possible. And because of that, I have joy. Because I was just up against a wall all the time. Like nothing was working. And that helplessness, that's probably why I also turned to drugs, because it was the only thing that was finally offering me a way out. But it's not the only thing. Yeah. You know, I don't regret taking them.
Sure.
And I don't regret the
You
things
have to gain the discernment. Like you have to gain the discernment. And that's like the biggest key I feel like that the mystery school has helped me to unveil is my own discernment and figuring out like, is this good for me or is this not good for me? And so for me, like drugs, I'm good. Like I don't need to do that. Yeah.
And I don't judge anybody who takes drugs. I don't judge anybody who does whatever.
Yeah.
I just want people to have like more and more and more options for solutions.
Yeah.
You know, because there are solutions. And what I've learned through studying hermetics is that for every problem, there is a solution.
Yeah.
Whereas in the world, the generation we were born into, it's like the world is dying. The world is collapsing.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
Bad.
There's no way to solve it unless
bad,
you don't drink
bad,
water or whatever.
Bad,
like
the government is bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you have this like mass feeling of helplessness. And honestly, through studying hermetics, I've learned that there's an answer for everything. Yeah. It's not always easy, but there is an answer. And I have always, like, since working with the Modern Mystery School, since studying hermetics, since using these tools, I have found an answer out of every piece of suffering, out of every bit of pain, out of every obstacle I found myself in. Because it's not like you join the mystery school and you no longer have obstacles. Like you get these tools and you just can navigate those obstacles with so much ease because the path is clear.
Yeah.
And
that, it's a framework. Like that's what I love. I'm a Virgo. And so I like organization. And what I love about the path of progression is it's organized, it's set up like in a very specific way. Yeah. And it's mapped out in this very specific way that is always going to lead me to God. Like God as me, the woman, Stacie Nicole Haynes.
Yeah.
So like having that time tested, thousands and thousands of years old, nobody just made it up. Like it was literally brought down from the heavens and given to humans, you know, like it wasn't this thing that I just like came up with in the bathtub one day. Like it's real. Like it's a real framework. And,
it's real.
And it works. Like I've seen it work on all of my friends that are in the mystery school. I've seen it work even on my family who is not in the mystery school. As I shift and change and grow on my path, they're shifting, they're changing, and it's always for the better. So
totally, the framework is 100% real.
Yeah.
The magic, and the magic is totally real.
Like it's like an actual scientific system.
Yeah, we're
it's the original one.
We're making a movie right now, you know, and about the modern mystery school, and literally what we're doing is like we're just collecting data about how these tools have worked in people's lives, and it's just pretty astounding.
Yeah,
you know, so it's kind of like I know these stories are lofty because years ago, like somebody was telling me, okay, 1,000 years old lineage and this life activation, it's gonna work. Is this really gonna help me? Just try it. You know, because even though I thought it was lofty, I had the courage to give it a go, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Yeah, everything really, it has to be experienced, because through that experience, you're going to gain the discernment that you need. So it's planting a seed of possibility in someone's life, and they can either shine light on it and water that seed or not. But our job as guides in the school is to offer them that seed. So of limitless potential. Like who doesn't want that? I want that.
We're fun.
We're cool.
We're so cool.
We're cool. Obviously, I mean, you're watching us.
I feel like there's this like cool like shift happening where people are kind of getting so fed up with the media and how negative it is, and kind of like seeing that maybe all these things that used to give us our answers aren't working. Like, go get your own answers. You want to go take drugs? You want to go like join the mystery school? You want to go meditate in like freaking Tibet? Do whatever you want. Go learn
Just go
things.
do something.
Like, do your
life. A good, positive thing.
And stop making other things your God.
Yeah.
Like, stop making other things your God. You know what to do. And if you have trouble figuring out what to do, there are tools that can help you find clarity. But at the end of the day, man, like, it's just, you just got to be you.
Yeah.
Because that is how you connect to God. Like, separation from God comes when you stop expressing who you really are.
I love that. I think we should just end there. No, like seriously, that's so good. That's perfect. Yeah, separation from God comes when you stop expressing who you are.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Express who you are.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You're God.
Guess what?
Guess what? Surprise! They've heard it. If they watch this, they've heard it. But
and I think that the ultimate fruit is really, if you are God, like, then what can you do?
Yeah.
And so this is like just why it's a super cool show of like the fruits, because the fruits are all about
you are the fruit. Ruthie Odom is the fruit. Stacie Haynes is the fruit. The cool guys behind the camera, they're the fruits. Thank you, Ruthie. I so appreciate your wisdom as always, and I will see you all back very soon.
Yeah, it's super fun. Thank you.